Why Jungkook's tears and Jin's emotions in SUGA's message sparked deeper questions. The room froze the moment Jungkook's face collapsed into tears, a reaction so sudden, so raw, that it shattered the assumptions many held about BTS's unwavering composure. Why would a simple video message lead to such an emotional rupture? And more importantly, what deeper truth could be hiding beneath the surface of SUGA's unexpected appearance? These questions erupted instantly because nothing about the moment felt accidental or ordinary. Observers noted that Jungkook's expression changed the second SUGA's voice broke through the speakers, calm, steady, yet weighted by something unspoken. The message itself was brief, almost deceptively gentle, but the emotional impact it unleashed on Jungkook and Jeon suggests layers far more complex than what was shown on screen. Could this moment reflect the psychological burden shouldered in silence? Or did SUGA's tone imply struggles that the public has yet to understand? Jin's reaction added another dimension. Known for emotional restraint and controlled public demeanor, he lowered his gaze almost immediately. His breathing visibly changed. His shoulders stiffened. What could have triggered such a response in someone who often shields the younger members during vulnerable moments? Was it recognition, perhaps a realization that SUGA's words came from a place deeper than mere affection or gratitude? The timing is equally suspicious. SUGA has been absent from several public activities, and while fans have been reassured repeatedly that everything is fine, his appearance in this video had an unmistakable undertone of exhaustion. Why now? Why in this specific setting? And why say things that sounded nearly like a quiet confession? Jungkook's tears were not simply emotional, they were immediate, unfiltered, and visibly overwhelming. This was not the kind of controlled sadness displayed during nostalgic speeches or farewell stages. This was something else entirely: shock, concern, guilt, or perhaps a dawning realization about SUGA's internal state. His hands trembled slightly, his breathing tightened, and he visibly struggled to regain control, all signs of a reaction rooted not just in sentiment, but in fear. Meanwhile, Jin's stillness spoke louder than words. Silence can be a form of communication, especially among people who have shared years of burden, pressure, and responsibility. Jin's expression suggested that SUGA's message touched upon something he already sensed, but perhaps avoided confronting. Was he protecting the younger members from worrying too deeply, even while he himself processed the message's emotional weight? Fans worldwide responded instantly, flooding social platforms with questions. Was SUGA trying to tell them something between the lines? Why did Jungkook and Jeon react so intensely? Could this moment indicate hidden struggles within the group? The emotional impact of the video continues to provoke speculation because it challenges the narrative of stability that often surrounds BTS. Even global icons, admired for their strength, discipline, and unity, carry emotional histories unseen by the public. But when those histories begin to surface, through a crack in a voice or an unguarded tear, the world pays attention. SUGA's choice of words also raises deeper questions. His message emphasized missing the members, feeling the weight of expectations, and pushing forward despite internal battles. These themes hint at personal turbulence rather than simple nostalgia. Fans wonder, was he subtly revealing emotional fatigue? Or was this moment his way of reaching out for understanding? Knowing that the world rarely sees his vulnerabilities, the reactions of Jungkook and Jeon serve as emotional evidence. Their responses were too intense, too synchronized, and too uncontrolled to be dismissed as ordinary sentiment. Something about SUGA's message struck a chord that only those closest to him could fully interpret, and their reactions suggest the message carried more gravity than viewers initially realized. In the broader context, the moment forces a reconsideration of how audiences consume celebrity vulnerability. Do fans overlook warning signs because the music, the performances, and the smiles create an illusion of perfection? Do the members themselves hide emotional strain to maintain public expectations? These questions matter not just for BTS, but for the global conversation about mental and emotional well-being. As discussions continue, one truth remains clear: SUGA's message was more than a simple greeting. And the tears of Jungkook and the silence of Jeon were more than reactions, they were signals. Signals that hint at deeper emotional currents, unspoken struggles, and the complexity of relationships built under extraordinary pressure. What exactly lies behind those tears and tremors is still unknown. But one thing is certain: the moment has opened a door to deeper questions the world can no longer ignore. The emotional storm that followed SUGA's message did not simply end when the screen faded to black. Instead, it opened a new wave of speculation, doubt, and debate that quickly spread across online communities. Yet amid the overwhelming sympathy for Jungkook and Jeon, another question unexpectedly took center stage. How much of what we witnessed is unquestionably real, and how much might be shaped by the relentless machinery of modern media? This is not an accusation, but rather a necessary reflection. Are audiences reacting to truth, or to a narrative carefully crafted to evoke maximum emotional impact? As the discussion intensifies, one cannot help but wonder, why did the moment feel so perfectly timed? So dramatically aligned with the public's hunger for vulnerability? Was it an organic eruption of emotion, or a scene amplified by the expectations placed upon global superstars who have lived under a microscope for more than a decade? These questions do not diminish the sincerity of the tears, but they challenge us to consider the broader landscape in which such emotion is interpreted. If we are moved so easily, what does that say about the media ecosystem we inhabit? Social platforms like TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter have already transformed the event into thousands of clips, edits, and reaction videos, each with its own angle, its own emotional framing. But is the message still the same once it passes through so many filters? Or does it evolve into something far larger, far more dramatic than what actually occurred? And more importantly, are we witnessing the truth, or the truth as edited, repackaged, and magnified for virality? Even devoted fans began questioning the phenomenon. Some argued that Jungkook's tears were a natural result of emotional overload, while others suggested the possibility of strategic timing. After all, BTS is no stranger to high-stakes media cycles. But here lies the deeper inquiry. Should audiences trust their immediate emotional reactions, or pause to evaluate the information critically? When millions share the same moment, the pressure to feel what others feel becomes immense. Are these genuine tears we empathize with, or a collective emotional script we are subconsciously following? Jin's reaction, too, raises compelling questions. His visible struggle to maintain composure seemed painfully authentic, yet skeptics asked, why are such deeply personal moments being showcased so publicly? Does the act of broadcasting vulnerability inherently change its meaning? Or is the modern audience so accustomed to emotional transparency that anything less is seen as distant and unrelatable? These are uncomfortable questions, but necessary ones if we hope to understand the nature of celebrity storytelling in the digital age. Furthermore, consider this. Would the emotional weight of SUGA's message have been interpreted differently if it had been released quietly, without cameras, without an audience, without an event? Would Jungkook's tears still carry the same symbolism if they were not immediately captured, replayed, and dissected by millions? Or do they become meaningful precisely because they were seen, shared, and immortalized online? How much of our empathy is shaped by context, and how much by content?